Hi, this is Abdullah, and you've probably heard of the Nokia N9 and its amazing operating system, MeeGo Harmattan, by now. But did you know that this phone actually had a predecessor? Allow me to introduce you to the successor of the Nokia Internet Tablets, and the first of its kind to support mobile phone functionality, as the previous tablets couldn't make phone calls. And Maemo 5, its operating system, was also the building block for MeeGo on the Nokia N9. This is the Nokia N900 from 2009. So let's talk about some of its quirks and features, as well as some of the issues that were relevant for its time. Let's start with the design, which looks closer to a prototype developer kit device than an actual consumer-friendly device. The design is almost completely devoid of any character, especially when you compare it to the Nokia N97, which had so much flair. This, on the other hand, had almost none. The N900 had an integrated stylus into its design, which was perfect to use with the 3.5-inch resistive touchscreen. And this display was pretty high resolution back then at 800 by 480 pixels. This was much sharper than what you found on the Nokia N97. There was also an RGB LED light for charging, notifications, and other stuff like that. On the back, you had a 5-megapixel camera with Carl Zeiss optics, and the camera was hidden under a sliding functionality. There's even a 2-stage shutter key to access the camera quickly and to capture pictures. And Nokia also integrated a kickstand into the camera bump. But it was pretty flimsy and felt quite cheap. And the N900 even supported dual speakers, so you had one on every side. And a lanyard hole too. The plastic back plate was removable and it hid a 1320 milliamps battery. And in order to unlock the device, you had to do with a slider. And it wouldn't be an internet device without a keyboard, and this one is a 3-row QWERTY keyboard, which was also backlit, so that's pretty cool. And unlike the N97, this doesn't open at an angle, so you just push the display up and you reveal keyboard. I do have to say I prefer the tactile feedback on this a lot more over the N97's mushy keyboard. The N900 was the first Nokia with a Texas Instrument OMAP processor, and this one was clocked at 600 MHz. The device also came with 256 megabytes of RAM, and its processing power and RAM are both better than on the N97. Storage was identical though at 32 gigabytes. And that was pretty generous back in 2009, and the device even supported an SD card slot. But the party stopper with the N900 was its Maemo 5 software, which was also known as Fremantle. Maemo 5 is a Linux-based operating system developed for the Nokia Internet Tablet lineup, the predecessor to MeeGo. And the software was very powerful and very flexible. Maybe the most customizable and open software to be found on a phone, but that's debatable. Maemo even provided an X-terminal interface for interacting with the core operating system and changing it in almost any way you can please. How cool is that? And the interface was much more fluid and powerful than Symbian, and it even had kinetic scrolling. And its multitasking capabilities were just astonishing for back then. So the N900 could do proper multitasking by keeping tasks available in the background, and it had a dedicated multitasking view. And the widgets and the icons on the home screens were fully movable, so you could rearrange them absolutely anywhere you wanted them to be, without restricting to a very specific grid. Symbian only got this functionality after Symbian Anna, which was a few years after this. And this interface was developed from the ground up to be touch-friendly, and it really shows. And that made it a lot more touch-friendly compared to Symbian S60 5th edition on the N97. And it wouldn't be an internet tablet without a very powerful web browser. And the N900 had a web browser called MicroB, and it's a Mozilla-based web browser with Flash 9.4 support. And it was considered state-of-the-art back then due to how powerful it was. So this was the closest you could get back then to a PC web browser. And Maemo 5, even though it was very limited in its reach, had a very passionate community. So you had over 1,500 apps developed for this very niche device, and most of them were even free. And the N900 also had support for Debian apps too. And by the way, you could only use the N900 in landscape mode, which was pretty quirky for a phone back then. So what were the issues with the N900? For a start, the camera performance was pretty weak compared to the N97, and it was mainly due to lack of optimization. The micro USB port was notorious for being weak and moving out of place. The proximity sensor on the front also had a lot of issues. And as I mentioned, there was no support for portrait mode, which meant that the N900 was strictly to be used with two hands. Not ideal for a phone really. And battery life wasn't exactly excellent for a powerful device such as this one. So under heavy use, you couldn't make it until the end of the day without a charge. But the biggest issue with this very unique device is that Nokia limited its availability way too much. It was only released in a very small number of markets, and it was almost never promoted or advertised properly by Nokia. And this was to protect their main flagship, the N97, their darling, which in my opinion was a huge mistake, as that device was majorly flawed. So the N900 is a beast of a phone with a very passionate community. It was only bought by the most techie of them all. It offered a brilliant, flexible and open source software that literally had the sky as the limit as to what it can do. Its operating system was the perfect mixture between the power of Symbian and the smoothness and user-friendliness of iOS back then. And it was a perfect device for tinkerers, and the predecessor to the legendary MeeGo OS on the N9. So what's not to love? Had Nokia fully embraced Maemo and replaced Symbian with it for their high-end mainstream devices, things could have looked very different for them now. Sadly though, Symbian was the favorite child and Maemo never really got the spotlight that it deserved. And as a result, Nokia sadly paid the price. Anyways, that's it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed this nostalgic trip covering one of the most special and unique devices in Nokia's history. If you're enjoying my videos, please support me by liking and subscribing to the channel. It really means a lot. So that's it for me, and I'll see you in the next one.